My original goal was to do 15 parties and break even the first year. We went way over that, did 140 parties beyond breaking even, and just kind of kept going. I did a half semester at Suffolk, dropped out, and kind of made that my full-time thing. I'm Jack Reinard. I'm 20 years old. I'm the owner of Rent a Tent, a tent and party rental company, and I'm the founder and CEO of the JSR Engine, which helps business owners automate their Google Ads management, optimization, and waste reduction.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. I'm very much looking forward to hearing your story because, we spoke briefly beforehand and you have quite a unique story. And being the fact that you're only 20 years old and running these businesses is extremely unique. So tell me a little bit about both of these companies and how you got involved in starting them.
Yeah. So Rent a Tent is a tent and party rental company. We rent tents, tables, chairs, dance floors, lighting, linens, pretty much everything you need for a party. I started that when I was 17, a senior in high school. I at first I thought it was just gonna be, a smaller kind of gig. I didn't have much expectations for it. I got into it because I was working for a barbecue catering company, and I liked the whole idea of going around to different people, doing parties and stuff. So, the thing that went hand in hand with that was tent rentals. My original goal was to do 15 parties and break even the first year. We went way over that, did 140 parties, beyond breaking even.
Almost
And
10x breaking even
yeah, more
that
like,
far.
and
Yeah.
just kind of kept going. I did a half semester at Suffolk, dropped out, and kind of made that my full-time thing. Um, and through Rent a Tent, that was how I came up with the JSR engine. It's a platform for business owners and it automates their Google Ads management, optimization, and waste reduction. I came up with that because Google Ads was a primary factor in growing Rent a Tent in the second year. And during busy season, I was like, I put so much money into Google Ads, but I don't have any time to manage them, and I
Mm.
don't want to pay, a marketing company because it costs $500 to $1,500 a month. But Google Ads is uh, it's a primary way to get business for me, and I spend so much money on it, so I should be properly managing them. So I thought, what if I can create a software that automatically manages them for you? And that's what I did with that. So, we launched 2 months ago and I've just been trying to get early adopters. So,
So let's talk about the newer company first because I'm really curious about how this is managed. As somebody that has run a lot of ads
yeah.
in my day, we spoke briefly about my career beforehand and how I kind of got to where I am, and but part of that is all in the fact of like me running my own businesses. So I'm very familiar with running,
Yeah.
more particularly meta ads for what I do,
Yeah.
but very familiar with Google ads as well, and very familiar with the trouble of trying to manage those ads and understanding how do I even know if this is cost effective? And now I'm curious, like, so what's the is it AI that's the backbone of your
No. So that is something I'm actually really proud about because yes, it's a AI platform, but it's my AI. It's not, as they call it online, a GPT wrapper or whatever, which means pretty much they're, a company. Let's say myself, I were to take ChatGPT's back end, and what that means is basically take ChatGPT and repackage it into my own
white
platform. Yeah,
labeling
exactly,
ChatGPT?
whiteley, which that is not at all what, I did here.
So what did you do?
It's all, my own proprietary machine learning algorithms, and, um, basically, to keep it simple, it doesn't, use Claude or ChatGPT or anything like that. It uses my own algorithms and my own code. And with that, it optimizes, um, just as efficiently, if not better, than ChatGPT. or Claude.
So what is it actively doing when somebody signs up and they start using the platform, or even you
Yeah,
yourselves? So you built this out of necessity for yourself,
exactly.
and then you're like, hey, this works really well. Let me
Exactly.
just use it
That's
for other
it.
bit.
So exactly. So first, I built it for myself. I'm like, this is working really good for me. I'm sure, other business owners or just other people in general have the same issue that I'm having, but there is no platform that caters directly to small business owners. There are other platforms that are meant for marketing companies and
Mm.
agencies, but they make it so difficult and so expensive for a business owner to use their platform. So my whole goal with this when I was building it was it works, but how can I now make this super simple so anybody can use it?
So what is it looking for to know that it's optimizing your
Yeah.
specific ads?
It's looking for any bad searches you're popping up. So basically
Oh wow,
searches that have nothing to do with your business that you're showing up for because if people
wasting money.
exactly, if they click on your ad, that means you're going to be wasting money on that bad search. It's looking for keywords that aren't making you any money, basically wasting your money but aren't bringing in any leads. It's looking at your targeting as well, pretty much to see, hey, am I targeting these searches as efficiently as possible? Should they be a tighter targeting? Should they be broader? Am I basically how can I make my targeting much better? It's looking for missing opportunities. So, pretty much searches you should be targeting that you're not. And, in turn, once you add those searches in, that's going to bring you more customers because you weren't targeting those to begin with. Um, and then lastly, a lot of people don't run this, but if they do, uh, manual CPC. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. A lot of people don't do that, but it's just a feature we added in. It's basically making sure you're paying as efficiently per click. It's making sure you're not wasting extra money and overpaying for a click.
So let me ask you about that because my concern about you. So for the viewer that might not totally
Yeah.
understand ads, CPC is cost per conversion or
Cost
cost per
per
click.
click.
Sorry,
Cost per
cost per
click.
click,
Yep.
cost per click. And the way that it works, my concern with that always, because I don't totally understand the space, is that like, well, what if I enter a number that's overpaying? So say I could Google could get me a cost per click of $1 each, and I put $3, and now am I paying $3 for things that I could have gotten for $1? So I'm
That's
curious.
that's what my platform is helping you with. It's
Yeah. Okay.
basically helping you not overpay.
Oh,
So
so you're saying people can overpay if you do a
if
custom.
you exactly, if you do a
Interesting.
custom thing, so basically the whole idea behind my platform is to make sure your money is being used as efficiently as possible while bringing you more customers.
It sounds super intriguing. And my question is because you said your goal is to make it accessible to small businesses. So how does the platform work pricing wise?
150 a month. I thought about my first year uh, being a business owner,
Hmm.
having no money to spend on extra services, softwares, or anything. And I thought to myself, I'm like, what is a price point that, you know, I would pay as a first time business owner for something that would really help me out? And 150 a month was that number.
Hmm. Very interesting. Which, for if you're not familiar with this space, again, I think this space can be speaking to a lot of businesses or owners. I think that this space is totally just even above their head in general because they're like, I don't know, Google ads. I don't
That's
do,
what,
So for the record, to clarify, $150 compared to most people, like if you're going to hire a company, it's easily $1,500 a month, or it'll be like, we'll set you up one time, monitor it for 3 months, but it's 5 grand or something like that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I get served all the ads for all these things,
Hmm.
so I've been familiar
Yeah.
with all this
So
stuff.
that's how you could, but there was no, in between.
Yeah,
There was no middle ground. It was either manage them yourself, which
sure.
you don't have the time for,
Or
or
even
you're
maybe
going
the
to be,
understanding of.
or the understanding exactly, or pay a company to do it, but you're paying, 1,500, 500, $5,000 a month. There was no, do it yourself, but have, a system that's watching them for you, where you can just go on and approve and deny the recommendations.
Oh, interesting. Very so what's really doing is it's recommending what you could be doing to be
It
better, and then you
either
decide if you wanna actually implement it or not.
exactly, or you can put it on fully automatic mode where it will automatically apply those recommendations for you.
Very interesting. So what were the results for you before and
Me,
after how did you build this, first of all? Did you hire a company to build it,
so
or
it's funny how this started because it was supposed to be my little after work, side project that I would do after I got back from, setting up tents, whatever. It was supposed to be just a little hobby for me. Started coding it myself. Then I realized I'm like, this isn't efficient. I don't really have the time for this. So I ended up hiring somebody to develop it for me. Um, he built the foundation, and then I kinda ran out of money to keep funding it because developer costs are extremely expensive. So, at that point, I put it on the back burner, and then once, Claude Opus 4.6 came out, which is like, a coding I got on that. I was like, "I'm bored one day, let me see what this can do." I had all the code from my developer, all the documentation, and just finished it myself using Claude Code.
Hmm, it's wild. It's people I think people poo-poo AI a lot, way more than they should, in the sense of like, "Oh, if it's made through AI, it's fake," or "If it's made through AI, it's not as human touch." I have made so much money this year just through AI alone.
Mhm.
Like, it's just the way it's automated my ads. Like,
Yep.
I had a separate thing that I was running, and I was like, "Hey, what are your thoughts on these ads? What's the CPC? What do you think on the CTR? What," like, all these things. Like, how can I improve? But it's just like,
But that's where, I see a lot of that stuff pop up on LinkedIn where people are using AI to optimize their ads. But then you think to the general business owner that is managing,
oh,
their
absolutely.
calls, scheduling, crews, you know what I mean? Number 1, a lot of times they're not gonna figure it out because you doing that, you're like 1% of the world.
I have years of experience
That's
of
what
doing these things
exactly.
to even understand. Yeah, absolutely. So I would completely agree with that. That the average business owner hasn't even opened up Meta ads, and even as somebody who's been doing this for 15 years and probably run, I don't even know, thousands and thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars worth of ads, I'm still like, wait, how do I get to the Meta? Like, they just make it so different. Like, where's the Meta business page? Wait, but is it Meta ads? Like, they
It's
just,
yeah.
it's a mess. I don't
Mhm.
understand for how big of a company it is. It is a complete
They
mess.
don't like to make it easy
It's
for
a
you.
mess, and I
Not at
don't want to,
all.
because if they made it easier, I think more businesses would spend the money on the
Yeah.
platforms. It's just a mess. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm super intrigued with this though. So going back to that. So what was the results for your company? So you developed it as a side project for
Yeah.
yourself, and then
So, within 6 weeks, I was able to cut my cost per lead by, I think it was 73%,
wow,
and then I was able to increase my conversions by 62 per month.
62%,
No,
or
62
people like
people,
conversions.
s exactly, 62 more conversions a month than I
Which
was
what kind
getting.
of percent would you assume that would be based on what were you? Well, I guess what were you getting beforehand?
I was getting what was I getting? I was probably getting, like, 40
So now
calls
you're
per
up
month,
to
and
like
now I'm, like,
100.
100, 110, sitting right around there.
Very interesting.
So,
It's very very interesting.
yeah.
Um, So now let's pivot to, I guess, the tent company, and unless there's anything specifically you want to share more about the platform.
No, no, no.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I have it's I have people already on the top of my head. After I get off the thing, after the interview, I'm gonna call and be like, "Yo, you gotta check this thing out." Um, just for people, can you remind the audience the name of it again, or where they can find it?
The JSR Engine and at the JSRengine.com.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
Because it's so interesting, that whole people, I think, don't understand how much money they can make from ads, but also don't understand that they have to spend money to make money, and also potentially
exactly.
lose money. Like, it's a learning process.
It's exactly. It took me a lot of time to kind of figure it out a little bit, and then that's the thing, a lot of people try it, they see it doesn't work,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
then the problem is they don't have it set up the right way, or they're once again, it goes back to the optimization side of things.
Have you incorporated media optimization, I guess is the way if they
No.
what if their ad just sucks?
Well, with Google, it's really the fundamentals I believe with Google is it really doesn't matter. Like you could have a super basic headline or, a super basic ad, right? But if you're getting it in front of the right people and it's optimized, meaning, you're not popping up for irrelevant searches, you're targeting the right keywords, it doesn't really matter what your ad says because when somebody's searching, 9 times out of 10, they're looking at the first 3, people sitting on top. And that's where Google Ads is putting you.
Very interesting. Yeah, and I guess it's different for like a meta ad, which you might be trying to like convert like as a brand and show this. Where here it's like people
Exactly.
like I need a plumber.
Meta ads, totally different landscape. It's more of, get your brand out there. Your media has to be intriguing.
Yeah,
It has to look good. Whereas if somebody's searching for a plumber, they could just have number one plumber near you or something. And,
yeah.
people will
Long
click
Island's
that.
best plumber.
Exactly.
Yeah, very
Exactly.
simple.
As
Yeah,
long as it's going in front of the right people,
yeah.
you know?
Now let's talk a little bit about the back end of the business. I mean, I'm sure that the cost for setup was pretty decent with the coding and everything.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
managing this it seems like this might be a pretty sweet win for you if like you get companies involved. Like it doesn't seem like there's a huge overhead, correct?
No, there's not.
Yeah,
No.
that's a pretty cool gig, man. The
It's yeah.
the passive income route, which
I
never is
it's
passive.
never
It's
passive,
never
not at
passive.
all. It's always
And the passive income often has a ton of work beforehand that
yeah.
that ends
Oh,
up being
yeah.
the case. It's
Well,
like
it's a risk, you know what I mean? It's like I put a ton of money into this so far and, there's no guaranteed outcome, of course, but that's the same thing with every business.
mhm,
It's just a little different, you can scale this nationwide, worldwide, it's on the internet.
yeah,
So
yeah. How easy is it for somebody to sign up? What's the sign up process, the onboarding
I
process?
that's another thing I really focused on is making it as easy as possible. It's literally 3 buttons. If you can log in to your Gmail account or where it just says log in with Google, if you can do that, you can log into my platform.
Very
And
interesting.
it's 60 seconds literally to sign
Very
up.
interesting. Very
So,
interesting. Yeah, it's something I want to check out. I think it's very
yeah.
intriguing. So now let's pivot just a little bit more about you. What 17-year-old says, "Hey, let me get tents up for people." Like how does that even happen?
Just from working a ton when I was younger. I started working when I was 12. And then also, a big influence of it was with my grandpa too, because he owns a cigar store and, I grew up pretty much in the cigar store. So just seeing him with his business, him bringing me along to do business, that was a big, contributing factor. So from working from when I was 12, having countless jobs in between 12 to 17, I was like, all right, it's time for me to kind of try something out on my own.
Yeah, so
And
I was gonna bring that up. I was gonna bring up your grandfather because
yeah,
you had mentioned that. Because for the listeners that didn't, that this was we spoke about beforehand. Your grandfather owns a cigar shop in my
hmm
town. You're not from this town. You're from a couple towns away.
yeah,
But it was just funny, like the happenstance. He's like, you were like, oh, my grandfather owns a business. I'm like, what business? I was like, oh, I totally know because I'm a cigar guy. I
yeah.
actually, it's one of the things I really enjoy. Um, so I'm curious. So did you does that is it an interest of yours, the whole cigar industry, or is it kind of just something that I was like, it's my
It's
family that
kind of something I grew up with, to be honest with you.
yeah
I don't really get into it all too much with, all the different cigar types and whatever. I really couldn't tell you a ton about it. Like I know just from being around the shop, but it's, that's kind
yeah
of how I,
yeah. It's such a
yeah.
unique industry. That's why I was curious because like not many people say, oh yeah, my grandfather has a cigar shop.
No, no, not at all.
Especially
No.
these days, at
Yeah.
least. Very interesting. So let's talk about, I guess, the logistics of the tent business.
hmm
So I'm assuming you had to buy all the
Yep.
material at first, the
Yeah.
inventory. So talk about that. What was that process
So
like?
I started with 2 tents, a 20 by 20, a 20 by 30, 10 round tables,
This year, what year was this?
year 1,
Like 20.
2023.
Okay,
Yeah,
so past the COVID time of like when everybody
exactly.
needed a
Yeah,
tent
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So started with the couple tents, bought 10 round tables, 60 chairs, lights to go along with that. An initial 16,500 went down. Um, and pretty much I started the barbecue catering company I worked for. He really helped me get it out there at the start. And then just overall from posting on social media in Facebook groups, the website with SEO,
Mm.
and just slowly, started rolling. And another big factor of that too was I was graduating high school that year. So all the grad parties, all the kids from
Wow.
school were, hey, I need a tent, I need a tent, and that, helped boost it up as well.
Very
So,
interesting. Good for you, man. That's awesome.
yeah,
So what do you how many are you looking to do this year?
500 parties
That's
this
the
year.
goal?
Yeah.
What's the logistics of that? Like, how do you get them where you're going?
How, like, transport
Yeah.
wise, with truck and trailer right now, because
But just you like, how many people
oh,
do you have
I have
driving?
I have like 8 guys working for me right now.
Okay.
So it's, we'll if it's a busy weekend, we break up into 2 crews. If it's like a slower weekend, it'll be me running the crew and
Well,
go
what's a
out with the guys,
considered a
yeah.
busy versus slow week? I mean,
So
500 in busy season or 500 for the year?
500 for the year.
Okay, so how many of that would you assume would be through, like, May through, like, September?
I would say probably.
Because 'Cause I'm assuming that's probably your busy season,
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely. Probably like 400 of that, I would say, more or
Okay,
less.
so there's only, like, 25 weekends in that, so how are you doing 400 in those 20 like, how does that
That's like a rough estimate
Sure,
though,
I'm saying no,
yeah, no, of
I
course.
I'm saying,
But
like, logistically, so are you
oh,
just
yeah.
doing, like,
No,
5 a
no, no.
day kinda
We're
thing, or
we're going doing, we start, so our week is Thursday to Monday pretty much. That's our work week. Saturday and Sunday for me is Tuesday and Wednesday.
Mhm.
That's my kind of off day. But we'll start setups from Thursday and Friday, finish up on Saturday, takedowns Sunday,
Oh,
Monday.
okay.
Average weekend, we're doing anywhere from like 15 to 18 parties, more or less. Our best weekend last year was 23 parties in a weekend.
So how do you set up and break down all those tents? It's
It's
crazy.
just hustle. It's literally,
And they're probably all
yeah.
over the island.
Oh, yeah. Well, I learned now, because I was going to Nassau a little bit at the start. I would take maybe one party in that because I don't really promote in Nassau, to be honest. At the start, I was doing maybe one party in Nassau and then have, the other in Suffolk. And I was like, that one in Nassau really messes us up. So now it's kind of, I stay like mostly North Shore of Suffolk. So,
Really?
yeah.
500 parties in the North Shore of Suffolk is pretty
So,
impressive. I think your next AI engine that you could create would be like an automation of like, okay, go here first, here first, here first. Because how much time do you spend like trying to navigate
to
that stuff?
route these kind of
Yeah.
things, I started my first year was manageable my first year. I could figure out kind of the directional stuff myself, but now I just use the app for it.
Oh,
I
they have something
Yeah,
like that
no,
already?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it,
You just plug
finds the
in where you're
best
going.
route exactly.
Like between all 15 of these
Between
places.
exactly.
Yeah,
You
very
literally just
interesting.
scan all 15
Wow.
addresses and it maps them all out for you. So,
I guess somebody
saves a
else
lot
just
of
had the
time,
million
yeah.
dollar idea
Mhm.
before, you
Yeah.
know. It's fascinating, man. That's really interesting. And I'm just surprised you're able to do it with 8 guys. Like,
Yeah.
so what does a typical setup take for a tent?
So I found the sweet spot for a crew now is 3 guys in a crew,
Okay.
because once you add that 4th guy in there, he's kind of just standing around past a certain point. So pretty much we get to the house, we get all the tent stuff out. Then at that point we all get the tent up. Then I have one guy, he goes, grabs the tables and chairs. I do all the stakes and the ratchets, and then I have another guy do the lights. And at that point, we're finished up.
How long would you say for a tent?
If we're really hustling on a 20 by 20, we could get it up in 30 minutes and be
Wow.
done. And then on a 20 by 30, roughly 45, and the same thing for like
From
20 by
getting
40.
there and
Yep.
getting out.
It's a science now. We got it down to a
So I was,
science.
because I've set these things up before at
Yeah.
like a church event or something like
Yeah.
that, and like these things are beasts. Because people are, like, yeah, just to clarify for people, we're not talking these little canopy folding things. We're
No.
talking like the huge rod poles that you gotta,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like. Do you have the ones where you have to like screw them together, kind of thing, or like ratchet? What do you? How do you connect them?
So it's all the pipes kind of just fit into like, it's all kinda it connects itself together, there is no, like, screwing them
Okay.
together or anything like that, for the ones that we mainly do. Now, for my biggest tent, that's a 30 by 60,
That's
that
a big
one
tent.
that thing is huge, it's, it's a that's a big setup, but for that one, that stuff kind of all, it clips together, it's a massive,
Yeah.
massive, whole different operation when it
Yeah,
comes to that.
very interesting. How did you figure your pricing?
Just calling up at the start, like, different companies.
Hey, what
Yeah,
I look on your
that's,
tent.
yeah,
What do
yeah,
you guys charge?
exactly. And, you know, I found, I'm right in the in between, more or less, because you see a lot of people, they charge if you go on Facebook Marketplace, I'm saying, or even other companies, they'll charge like 350 for a 20 by 20 or something. That is ridiculous.
Cheap or expensive?
Cheap. That is like but with those guys, you're not getting quality stuff. You know what I mean? So I'll get a lot of calls and they'll be like, "Oh, I found this guy, he's half the price, whatever." But then those guys show up, your tent has holes in them. It's dirty, covered in mold. You know, they don't do the right job. Where if you're getting a tent and the stakes are halfway out of the ground, or if they're not staking down every leg, that's a massive red flag. So I figured, charge in the middle, but also we're delivering quality and doing the right job.
Mhm.
So if that's what's
What is the, I guess, maintenance of these products in the
it's
sense
a
of
lot of
like,
maintenance. You
okay,
have
so
to
yeah, what's
keep them
this?
clean. It's, every time we take down the tents, if there's dirt on them, any pollen or tree sap or anything, it's a lot of cleaning.
You do it there, you do it at
We
your
do
place.
it there, yeah. We'd
Interesting.
spot clean it while we're
And then
taking it
how do
down.
you prevent mold? Like if they have an event and it's raining,
So you can't put them away wet. So what we used to do, because I started out of the shed first, right? When I started out of the shed,
meaning like actually out of a
out
shed.
of the shed,
Okay.
literally
Like
out
your
of the
shed.
shed, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So we were, if it would rain, we would just leave the tent up, let it dry out, and then come back the next day, take it down, like a couple days after the party, because you have to make sure it's dry. Or what really sucked was we were setting them back up in my backyard,
Yeah.
which was, double the work then.
Yeah.
But now, since I've moved into a warehouse, I'm actually able to hang them up from the ceiling and just hang them and let them dry out inside now. So,
Is that a ton of work?
not really. It's just compared to what we were doing, you
What
know,
about compared to leaving them up though?
no, because you really can't leave them up for an extended period of time like that just because the customer doesn't like that. And then also it comes down to my scheduling with my guys. You know what I mean? Because my guys can only work certain days and it's about, getting them down quickly for the customer and getting them down in a schedule efficient manner.
Yeah.
So
How many setups do you have right now?
booked for the year.
No, like how many can you do on a weekend? Like in the sense
Oh,
of
I would
like,
say probably roughly like 25 or
so you have
so
like
max.
25
Yeah.
tents, I guess.
Yeah, well, that includes flipping some, meaning if we have to go because typically set up a day or two before, but that if a flip is considered if we're going to on a Sunday morning a job from Saturday, taking that tent down, going to Sunday setup and just setting it right back up.
That's pretty interesting, man. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. So now, how did you find the people to work with you?
So I started out with my one good friend. He worked all throughout my first season. Then I found a guy that I used to work with at a previous job I had, and now he's actually become my main guy. And then just kind of branching off from those initial guys, asking them, "Hey, you got any buddies?" You know,
And are they all around your age or are they all older than
My
you?
main guy, he actually just turned 30, and they're all some of them younger than me, some of them older than me. It kind of all ranges.
I guess because I pictured like all like 40-year-old guys helping you out of the house.
I wish that would
That'd be
be the
ideal.
best, yeah.
Why is that?
Because they're much better than some of these kids. That's.
Kids, I guess
Yeah.
it's funny coming up from a 20-year-old. No offense, but like, that's funny. So what, like, yeah, that's funny. Um, so I guess so. What is I get overhead would be your payroll.
Payroll, warehouse,
How big is the
utilities,
warehouse?
1,700 square feet.
Is
Um,
that what you were telling me was in St. James, or is
yeah, yep, yeah. Right next to the Mercedes dealer on Middle Country Road.
very cool.
Yeah.
And then do you live around there, or is that a
Yeah,
commute?
it's
Okay.
great. 5 minutes down the road from
Okay,
my
cool.
house.
So
So,
payroll, rent. How often are you replacing inventory?
uh, really not often. I haven't had to really replace
Which
anything
I guess would
because,
be because of your maintenance that you
yeah, because
constantly
if you
do.
take care of your stuff, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll last.
Do you is it all tent and like is it only can people rent just tent from you, or is it like it's the
Yeah, they can
package?
rent, yeah, exactly,
Is it
whatever they
worth your
want.
time?
Um, well,
Like how do you navigate
it's
now
worth my
what's worth
time,
your time
yeah,
and what's not worth your
because
time?
that's the other thing. You can't say yes to everything because now, especially when you have to, as my one friend calls it, feed the beast, which is your overhead. You got to now look at how much is it going to cost in gas to go out to these people. And, I'll rent whatever you want, but it's going to be, you might get delivery fees then, or, because I have to, at the end of the day, I'm in this, of course, like everybody is, to
Yeah,
make money. So you
sure.
have to make it worth
Yeah.
it to go out there,
Yeah.
you know?
Very interesting. And I mean, we're doing this filming this at a perfect time because like
Yeah.
we're filming this mid-May, so
Yeah.
it's perfect prime time for you,
Heading
like
into the
to get
season. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't even know how much more can you even take on? What would be the process of you taking on more work? Would it be like bringing on more guys?
Um, well, yeah, bringing on more guys, buying more equipment, because that's the other thing. The only way to grow in this is to buy more equipment. So buying more equipment and then, running possibly another crew.
Mhm.
But then you have to get another truck and trailer.
How are you finding the majority of your work?
Google Ads. Yeah, I'd say probably 70% comes from that, 10% from like social media,
What
and
kind of
then
social media work are you doing?
just Instagram,
But
Facebook.
like what is that? What do you
Oh,
post?
posting like setup pictures. I'll occasionally make a little video, like a little promotion video. Um, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much my social media.
What is the average cost of one of your jobs? Like customer wise?
Oh, I think average so far the rolling average this year I want to say is like 700 or so,
So
more or less.
700 at 500 jobs is a pretty decent bankroll. I mean, look, obviously
Yeah.
there's a ton of overhead and payroll and rent and
Yeah,
stuff, but
yeah.
like that's pretty sweet, man. For
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I
that's
mean
good
it's
for you.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so what would be the next step for you to get to the next level? Like how are you? What's your plan? I guess
For initially it was to do weddings and stuff. Because weddings they
that
pay
was your
you.
origin. Sorry, let me refer. Like, so that's your origin. That was your
That was
original
my original goal was
back
to,
when you first started.
yeah, get into like, of course, do backyard parties, but get into weddings as well because that's when you're doing the higher end tents, and those higher end tents, of course, cost more money. But now, after talking to a lot of people and just from experience, I want to go more corporate because with corporate, there's no emotion. Because the thing with
Mm.
these parties, there's a lot of emotion in these parties. So, you have to make sure, of course, like you're catering to a lot of people, accommodating, of course. It's somebody's special day. Whereas when you're doing corporate, it's more you set up and then you take down. There's no real dealing with a lot of,
Very interesting. Yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
if there happens to be a rip in the tent, which
Well,
but
no, of course
I'm
you,
saying, yeah, but
yeah.
like on somebody's
Well, yeah,
wedding day, like
then
it's a
that's a
very different
major,
story
yeah,
than
of
like
course,
you know
then a corporate
corporate random
event.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot less. Look, of course, you would never want that to happen, but
No.
it's a lot less emotion that it's raining on grandma versus some it's just a random hole in the you know.
Exactly.
That's a
Exactly.
very very interesting take. Obviously, you can charge more for corporate as well,
Of course.
but just not even that, because that would be the obvious answer is, oh, you
Hmm.
can make more money in corporate. But the fact that you said that there's no emotion is a very interesting perspective on corporate. Um, my only caveat with corporate, I'm curious your opinion on this, is that there's so much random red tape. It's like, why do we have to go through 16 different channels just to book a tent? Like, I'm curious your perspective on that.
At that point, though, when they're calling to book the tent, they already have that all worked out.
Oh,
So it's
interesting.
like they have their approved amount, I guess, that they want to spend. And then as long as you're kind of within their budget, it's green light.
Yeah, I guess we're at different industries where like when they come, they have an idea of a project that they want to do, and then they're like, okay, let's
Exactly.
loop in the marketing director, and okay, we have to get it approved from payroll, and okay, we have to do, and I'm like, look, we're not spending $50,000 here. Like, we're like,
I know, yeah,
why
it's
are we
yeah.
talking about like 15 different, and then it's like,
Mhm.
okay, we'll get back to you next quarter, and I'm like, sure, whatever. Like, I don't
No
even want like
problem.
whatever. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like, please, like,
Yeah.
like what's the big deal, guys? We're talking
Yeah.
about headshots for the company,
I know,
like,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess for your perspective, it's they just need something. They need a service or more
Yeah,
like a
they
product.
already have the event figured out. I'm
Yeah,
kind of like, one of the last steps where
interesting.
it's already,
So
they
now,
have
how do
their
you market
budget.
towards that? Like, how would you acquire more of that business?
So this year I wanted to try to go after a lot more corporate. Between with the software company though, it's kind of diverted me a little bit from because I really thought that my platform was dead in December because I ran out of funds to
Oh
keep
yeah,
paying
sure.
developers.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I got bored the one day in February and I was like, let me try doing it myself. But back in like December, January, I was all, let's go corporate, cold emails, cold call all these corporate companies, whatever. Now I'm kind of trying to balance both of them. And, my main priority right now is kind of getting users for the JSR engine opposed to more growing the tent side of things. Because the tent side of things is at a point right now where, in the backyard aspect, it grows itself. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't have to hustle as much for business
Hmm.
as I had to at the start of this.
Would Google Ads work well for the corporate side of things, or is it more of just relational?
I think more relational, to be honest with you.
What would be a typical cold email, and how is that? Like, what would be your process for that?
Uh, Basically, get their information from a platform like Apollo.
What is
Um,
Apollo?
it's a data scraper pretty much. So if you put in, all of your parameters, like, hey, I want CEOs or whatever it may be, head of HR or something or whatever. And then it spits out a list of all those people in a set location. And then at that point, you can get all their emails and then put them into an email sequence through a platform like Instantly or something and just, let a whole email campaign run.
What
And
would be like? What would the email campaign look like?
Pretty much like, hey, first name, I'm not sure if you guys are having any events this year, but we help corporate businesses with any of their corporate events. We're highly rated on the island or whatever. Make up pretty much an email template and just say, hey, we're here if you need us.
And
Um,
then there would be follow up emails, I guess.
you could do follow-ups, yeah. Yeah, typically like 3 follow-ups or so.
So what would that look like?
Just like, hey, I'm not sure. Maybe for the first one, I'm not sure if you saw my previous email because I know it gets buried in your inbox or whatever. You're so busy. Just wanted to remind you. And
So I guess
then,
that's those emails that I get that I'm
yeah,
like,
that's from
that's
people
how
like
they're
me.
doing.
Exactly.
No, I just kind of was curious how they go about it. So like because it is so, I guess, direct. It's like, hey Jacob, and a lot of them are. I must look, unless they're spending time like hey, I saw this, blah blah blah. Like, they're generic enough that they can, I guess, get sent to
That's
everybody, but they're also
exactly.
like I guess for me, I get a lot of stuff related to my YouTube channel. So it's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, we really love the videos you're doing. You know, it seems like you're really captivating your audience." Like that could
Yeah,
be sent to really any YouTuber,
yeah.
but it's specific to YouTube, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Well, that's
interesting.
exactly what the goal is. You want to
Yeah.
make it generic enough where you can send it to the entire list, but you want to make it specific enough to a certain industry. So then when they
Mhm.
read it, they're like, oh, wow, this is for my specific needs.
What would something like that cost? How much were you spending on
Um,
something like that?
when I was doing it, was like, I want to say 150 a month, maybe, depending on the volume of it.
And how what kind of volume were you doing?
What was I starting out with? I was doing like 30 emails a day, 5 days a week. So whatever that is, like 150 a week or so.
So like 600 a month, 500 a
Yeah,
month.
more or less something around there. You know,
So $3 an email.
yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
It's that's what I was trying, but like I said, I've kind of diverted away from that a little bit right now, just from priorities have shifted a bit.
Yeah, interesting. Do you think that these companies are just Googling too? Like, I'm curious, like if you could market these just do Google Ads companies, like I don't know, would like the secretary just be like, "Hey, I need a hey Google, I need a thing," you know?
Yeah, but it's kind of yes, they are doing that, but it's also getting to them and putting in their head before they have to do that.
Mm, interesting.
That's the idea of the cold email, where it's like at the start of the year, let me message all of these corporations and say, hey, if you're planning an event for
Think
2026,
of me.
think of me.
Very interesting. Let's talk, I guess, societal the societal landscape in the sense of like, have you found that people what's the word I'm looking for? I guess, are people struggling for money? Have you found that in your industry? Like, or are people are people trying
Depends.
to like now nitpick you when they haven't
Oh,
before? Or like,
absolutely.
well, like I'm saying more like, obviously everybody knows the price of gas is through the right, like,
Mhm.
but like, and in grocery, but like everybody hears all this stuff when they talk about this. I'm curious, though, has it actually affected your business in the sense of like, obviously you've grown and so as a
Yeah.
business, right? But what is the culture, I guess, of the customer? Has that shifted or has it not?
So, I mean, it's kind of remained the same the last 3 years. This year, I feel like is a little bit worse, where
In what sense?
I've gotten before, I would hear it, oh, the economy is so bad, whatever, like it's affecting my business. I was never affected by that. People were still spending their money with me. Now, like this year, I've gotten a couple more where, the main thing is, oh, the economy is bad for me. Like I really can't spend the extra money to go with you opposed to
Oh,
someone else kind of
interesting.
thing. But, it goes back to, all right, call the cheaper guys because they're going to fill up first. Because the cheaper guys, too, they do it, it's more of a weekend thing for them. It's like teachers, firefighters, whatever. You know what I mean? It's more of like a side thing, and they can charge the cheaper prices. But with that being said, they're going to fill up first. So once they book up, then they call me. And then I'm like, all right,
Very interesting. Yeah,
here,
very.
here you
It's an
go.
interesting position to be in. What does the rest of your week look like if you're busy Thursday through Monday with setups and breakdowns? What is the process?
Tuesday, Wednesday, then comes back to scheduling. There's also in between, well, it's really like 7 days a week for me more or less between everything
Yeah.
because when I'm not doing tents, I'm focusing on the other company and
So how are you growing that company?
a lot of cold outreach, a lot of
Email
because
or
email, and then I'm going to start doing cold calls too. Because initially, I'm really starting to get into the outreach now. Because at first, over the last couple months, I was just kind of going within my warm network and saying, "Hey, I have this thing. Do you guys want to test it out for me?" And so I can make sure it works across different
mm,
industries. So now that I've kind of proven that point, that it works across industries and it wasn't just a one-off thing for me,
mm,
now I'm starting to get into doing cold calls to businesses, cold emails, try with social media a bit. That's really not my main thing, social media. I'm not the best at it, so I'm kind of going back to what I know how to do. And yeah, so
very
that's
interesting. Yeah. What's the plan for cold calling?
Um, get lists of people again from Apollo, and then with those lists, it's funny because you want to make sure you're calling businesses that are already running Google Ads. So
Hmm.
there was no software that would be able to check massive lists. Now, when I say massive, I'm talking like 1,000, 5,000 businesses on a list. Sure, you can do that by hand, but that's going to take forever. So, like I was saying, there's no software that can check, hey, does this business run Google Ads? So I actually made another little thing that checks it for me and cleans the list out. So it basically pulls from that initial list of 5,000 people. Maybe 40% of them are running Google Ads. So, I'm not wasting my time calling people that aren't.
Yeah. So, just from a, I guess, logistical breakdown of like
Mhm.
how are you building these platforms? Are you coding? Are you saying, hey, like, are you running an agent through AI? Like,
So
what does that
yeah,
look like?
uh the way that I built the JSR engine was from hiring the developer. He built the initial foundation of it. Okay. Now,
Now, do you think 6 months later, when whatever you said, Claude
yeah,
4 came out with the coding
yeah.
aspect of it, do you think now you would have even needed the developer in the first place, or do you think you
No,
could have done it
that's
all?
no. At first, I was really like, once I, started doing it myself and seeing how this thing was able to finish this for me, I was like, kind of kicking myself a
Well,
little
but it
bit.
wasn't even a
But
thing
then, well,
beforehand.
it was a little bit, but it wasn't a mainstream kind of thing, I feel like. And it wasn't as capable as it is now. So I was like,
It's like which
it
came first, the
but
chicken or
then
the
but
egg?
then I realized, I'm like, I paid a professional to build the foundation, and of course the foundation's the most important part, and from that, a lot of people call, these platforms AI slop or whatever it is, like, meaning, it's a bad platform that an AI built, and it's kinda junk, it barely works, but I was able to connect
Yeah.
the agent to that initial foundation, and it analyzed, this is how this professional writes his code. So it's basically hiring that professional again for a
No, it's
fraction
pretty
of the
cool.
price. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
very interesting. I know a lot about AI and use it more than most people, but like it's still every time I talk to somebody about it, it makes me realize more and more how
Yeah.
little I actually even know. As somebody that uses it every day frequently,
Hmm.
for a lot of aspects of my business, it is remarkable how much you can do and how little I'm still doing with it. Again,
Yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
same friend that was talking about with that I think would probably benefit from
Hmm.
your platform of running the Google ads. Uh, I think that he's incredible with AI,
Yeah.
running agents to do this and agents to do that, and oh yeah, he's in the real estate industry, so they're pulling MLS things here and that's. I'm like, sent me a video once of like
Yeah.
his mouse and computer typing, and it was
Just
the
doing
AI
it. Yeah.
agent doing it. It's remarkable what they can do.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's just, those people are very unique.
Sure, I guess, yeah,
It's
yeah.
1% of the world
Oh, if
that's,
not less,
yeah, if exactly, if not less,
yeah.
that's doing that.
But it's still remarkable that you can
Yeah.
still do that.
Oh yeah, it's
We he
crazy.
and I joke all the time that like to some degree there are some days and some weeks where obviously we're very busy
Yeah.
sometimes, but there are other times we're like, I don't know what to do today because we've offloaded so much of our stuff to either delegation with employees or AI
Hmm.
that it's like, I don't really know what to do today.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's remarkable that like we joke because we come from parents that both own businesses,
Hmm.
and both of those parents were kind of like that work 8 to 12 hours a day, and now we're like, why aren't we doing that? And it's like, well, also granted, we're many years into our career
Yeah.
at this point, like we were when we were first
Yep.
starting out, but at the same time, like, because you can offload so much of it that you couldn't
That
anymore.
yeah.
Like, it just made us so much more efficient that it's like it's just
I
remarkable.
know, and it's crazy because you see these releases of studies done on how many jobs AI will take, and it's up there. A lot of these entry level jobs can be very easily replaced now.
A company that I know of was sent an email out saying we're looking to hire this
Yeah.
entry level position, and so you know it's funny. I keep referencing this buddy. He asked the person that was at the company, "What do you need them to do?" And they're like, "Oh, we need them to do this. We need them to take notes at meetings. We need them to do that." He's like,
You can
AI,
just yeah,
AI,
exactly.
AI. Like,
Automate,
why
automate,
spend
automate.
25, 30 grand a year
Yeah.
on some
Person to yeah,
person
to do it
entry
for
level
you.
job that you could do for probably
Mhm.
$200 a month, for
Exactly.
3 grand for the year.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. So, I guess what's the next step in your business? I guess we'll wrap it up. But like, what are you looking to do with both of these businesses, and where are you going?
So with the JSR engine, I want to get it out to obviously as many business owners as possible. By the end of the year, I want to conservatively have 100 users for that. By year two, year three, 1,000. By like year five, scale up to 10,000. Because it's very doable.
I remember a
Yeah.
follow-up question. How do you host this? Like, where does it live? So you create this code.
Yeah.
What do you do with it then?
So it's on a couple of servers, or the cloud. I call it servers just because that's what I know. But the cloud, based in New York City, um, and that's what all the code lives
I
on.
don't even totally know if I
Yeah,
understand.
well, no,
So
it's
where do you where is the cloud that you submit it to? I'm sorry that it
no, no,
probably
no,
sound
no, no. It's
foolish,
it's
but
yeah, no, no, no.
coding is
It's
so above my pay grade at this point.
it all
So it spits out this code to you, and then where do you put it?
okay. So the thing that spits out the code,
Yeah,
the AI that
yeah,
creates the code,
sure.
that lives within your cloud, which I guess best way to think of the cloud is imagine a computer that is on 24/7.
Yeah,
Um, and you're basically running all of these processes and all your platform, your AI coding agent, all within that virtual computer that runs
yeah.
twenty four
But
seven.
now, I guess, are you taking that code and putting it into like WordPress, or where?
No, no, no.
It's all just
It's all mine. It literally all lives in my virtual computer and all runs off of my virtual computer. There's no WordPress, there's no
And then how do
Wix
you pay
or
for that? Where do you like? So then, how do you develop the site?
through I guess all the code, the entire website, the entire platform, all lives in that virtual computer, which is based in New York City. It's basically a data center that holds it.
I,
It's
I
if
think this is
you
above my. I'm
no,
not.
if
Yeah,
you
this
it's
is.
like one of those
I got to
things
do
where
more
unless you're
research.
like in it
Yeah,
and
which I
really
would love to be. I'm
yeah.
trying to learn more about this stuff because it's, again, you can do so much. It is remarkable, but it's still, even when my buddy talks about it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I gotta go Google a couple things after this conversation.
okay, yes,
Yeah.
keeps
Yeah,
my
it's incredible, man.
yeah.
So I really admire what you're doing, and I think, we talked about the 1%. There's no question that you are absolutely the one part of that 1%, if not 0.1% of the people, especially at your age. I think that so many people, like, um, I don't know. I admire what you're
Yeah.
doing, and I think it's really cool. My last question that I want to ask you, that I ask every guest on this
Mhm.
podcast, is what is something you know now in your career that you wish you knew when you first started out?
I guess the market, like understanding that marketing is above all the most important thing because you can have the greatest product in the world, but if you're not marketing it properly, nobody's gonna see it. And I feel like and myself, I got wrapped up in this too, where it's you focus on
Mm,
the development of your business or your product so much, and it's business, 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 business. But then, okay, you have your product now, you have your business. I have the tent sitting there, I have my platform sitting online. If you're not marketing it properly and you're not getting it in front of the faces that need to see it, it's useless. It doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter how many people it can help. So that's where if I had to go back and start over, if somebody told me, as much as you don't think this is important right now, you should be thinking about marketing from day one. You
mm,
should be putting as much time into marketing as you are into
mm.
business development.
I think that's an incredible insight from experience. Just kind of a different analogy, being that we spoke about me being from the
Mhm.
music industry, there were so many musicians that would spend so much time developing their craft,
Yeah,
and they were incredible artists, but nobody knew who they were because they didn't know how to get
yeah,
themselves out there. And then there were
mhm,
mediocre artists that were just great at marketing, and everybody knew who they were.
yeah,
And it is I think that that is a completely overlooked I don't know what you call it, but idea.
yeah.
But I think that it is a very wise thing that even if the product isn't great, if the marketing's great, it doesn't, so like
That's literally what it is. You could have, and that's the other thing too. If you have even a mediocre product, something that's like whatever, but if you can market it and make it like it's all smoke and mirrors at the end of the day. That's really what it is. Like, one of
but then if
my
you have a great product
if you
and
have a
then you
great
market
product,
that,
then
it
it's
sells
you're
itself.
yeah, it sells itself and that's it. You just need that initial traction and that initial little catalyst,
Yeah.
which is, where the marketing comes into play.
Yeah. Very interesting. I
So,
think that's a great insight, and I think
yeah.
that, it's still very early in both of your businesses, so, like, there's no reason you can't implement those now because
No,
you got
yeah.
quite a journey ahead of you, my friend.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, I think that's it. Go to the JSRengine.com for your 7-day free trial and
Perfect.
lirentatent.com if you need a tent.
Perfect, man.
So,
It was a pleasure.
very
It was
nice
awesome
meeting
talking to
you.
you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.